Hello everyone, welcome back. It's Danny coming to you from Cromwell, New Zealand. Oh my word, can I just say the sooner April is over, the better. I say that and it's the 26th day of the month, but how much of a drag are these public holidays? I couldn't even tell you when I was supposed to be at work, what day it is today, when was the bottle-os open, when was the supermarket closed, like nothing makes sense anymore. No, it was definitely for good reason, and I'm just ready for May. And I swear to you that I understand that I have not been releasing consistent podcasts that are yes, it's going to be out on a Monday or whatever, just because I sort of do record the podcasts around when the house is empty or, just mostly that, because Mum gets really weirded out when I record them that she's going to make background noise or laugh at something and it'll be picked up on the microphone. So apologies, I haven't been very consistent, especially for that reason that I haven't been alone in the house, and I will make more of an effort in May. But and I've also had some feedback that I say wild too much, so consider that the only wild word I'm going to say this podcast, okay? You're lucky, because I don't know, back when I was working in the Vodafone store, I'd say for about 3 years I had the word chode on the end of my tongue, and chode is something that is as long as it is wide. So I don't know what's worse, if you are saying something's wild or if someone is a chode. I say someone, but I was naive and maybe I was calling customers chodes. I don't know. But it was the word of the hour when I worked there. So, everyone was chodes. How has everyone been? What's the goss? Is anything new? Is anyone doing anything that's wow? I've had heaps of feedback that people have been taking ashwagandha because I talked about it, and that people have had mood relaxants and stuff like that. I tell you, all you need is one person to start doing something, and then it just sort of drizzles down the line and everyone's doing it. Now there's probably going to be a shortage and I can't get some. No, that's not true. I do just want to say welcome to the new audience. Again, there's been another surge, so it's always fun to have new people listening, especially because I'm in such a quiet little town here in New Zealand. But yeah, the last podcast is weirdly enough has outdone the Haley podcast and my first podcast, which cracks me up because I feel like some people listen to them out of order. And that's really funny. But also I want to say g'day to the people listening in Costa Rica, Sao Paulo and Madrid. Slide into my DMs. Tell me a bit about where you are, because, that's really exciting on my locations map. And I can also see here that 32% of my listeners are in Christchurch. I mean, I know I went to school in Christchurch, but I didn't think there was that many people that would take up my audience. So that's really special. And hi to everyone in Christchurch. Why don't you reach out? Tell me you're listening, because I want to know, that's pretty cool. Is it people from high school? Who knows me? But no, also a bit of a shout out to the lads from the Cromwell rugby team, the Goats. I'll get to it in a minute as to how they know about how they know I have a podcast. But that came out in the wash on Saturday, and I'm not sad about it. So big shout out to the boys. I am a big supporter. I'm not just a wife or girlfriend of a player. I am just your average person that goes to your games, enjoys a good road trip and a good beer. But I do enjoy watching you as all run around the field. Don't know all of your names, but that's not a big deal. But hi guys. I was being serious when I said I had a podcast. But I wanted to sort of make this episode about what's been going on in the weekends, because I actually coasted over something. I don't know why I didn't tell you about this incident. I think maybe as my podcast is growing, I'm getting more confident, and I think the whole point of me having a podcast was to tell you is all about what I'm getting up to, but also some things to me seem normal, but then when you talk about it amongst, for myself, my workmates who are mostly in Auckland, they're like, that's not normal. So I feel more safe safer. I feel much safer talking about it on my podcast now. And I think being the 8th podcast, I've sort of got more of an understanding as to how this all works. And the listeners are certainly engaging and making sure that, you know, if they don't understand something, I can explain it. And that's just, it's okay. And I feel like it's okay to go over certain things. But, mate, did I get roasted about not talking about this? Whew, here we go. Well, 2 Fridays ago, there was an 80s night at the Victoria Arms Tavern. And I lost a bet with a friend on the Thursday beforehand, and I had to buy a ticket. I didn't see much of it being a bad thing because it's the 80s, the music's good, I was born in 87, like how bad could this be? It wasn't bad, it was just a different audience, and no offense to the, what do you call it, the band or whatever, but essentially it was karaoke with instruments. And something happened. I was there at 6:30 and I was home by 10:30. Which is super weird for someone like me because I would, you know, just stay on. I would be the first to arrive, the last to leave. Like, that's just my attitude too. When you go and buy a ticket to something, you don't just pike out halfway through. Well, I had 2 beers and half a bottle of rosé and ordered some hot chips, didn't touch those, and I went home with a corned beef roast. And I did put on my social media that I had this roast, but no one came forward that it was theirs, which is funny, but it's not, because potentially it was one of the older boys that might have won the meat raffle, and I ended up, somehow the roast ended up in my ice bucket with my wine, and I just picked it up and decided I was going home. Right home, going home. That's exactly what happened. So, yes. And also there was a foul smell that ricocheted over everyone, and I got blamed for that because everyone thought I'd farted. It wasn't me. But essentially someone was saying the lead singer of the band threw a fart bomb into the crowd, aired the place out for a good 10 minutes and had a break, and then they all came back and started playing, which is probably right, but I probably smelt it and then just decided I was going to yak and go home. But yeah, I don't know what happened in that weekend, but God, I laugh about it now. Mum got up the next morning and she was like, Danny, why is there roast beef in the fridge? You only went to a concert. Oh, fuck, mate, I could come home with anything. I've come home with knives and forks and salt and peppers and even a menu once. Pretty sure I still have the menu because I was like, how did I get that out of there? I've also been known to take a couple of glasses from here, there and everywhere. I've got a bit of a collection going, but not so much now. I'm getting older. But yeah, and I wouldn't rip off the places that I have to go to all the time because I have more respect for the venues than that. But yeah, that was cool. And then so I cooked it on the Monday just gone and had roast corned beef sandwiches with Mum's chutney and relish and sauerkraut and coleslaw and made a right Reuben sandwich out of it. I'm not sad. I don't eat a lot of corned beef, so I was pretty excited about that. And yeah, we are still piecing together what happened and how I got it home, but I'm not worried. Free corned beef. And the weekend just gone. Not all. Me and the girls, my 2 besties at the minute, they are like loving this rugby season, jumped in a car and went down to Omakau, and the Matakanui, oh, I don't know how to pronounce this team. It's not good. My pronunciation, no, I still can't say it. It's the Mudfish. The Mudfish were versing the Goats in Omakau, which is an hour south of Cromwell, which is pretty cool. You get to go down the pig route, which is like this weird back road of the country. I swear, if I was driving, I would have missed the turnoff and we would have ended up in Invercargill, but we didn't. I wasn't sober driver, so I was enjoying a couple of beers. And again, we ended up on a hill. I don't know how this keeps happening, but the rugby fields always end up being below a hill. And so we parked up the truck, sat in front of it, and lo and behold, I looked to my right shoulder and there's this woman in a Suzuki Swift with her husband, and they're quite elderly. And I yelled out, "Can you see?" Because I'm like right in front of their vision. And she's like, yeah, all good. And then when the goats scored a try, I yelled out, "Gladys, get on that horn!" Beep, 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 beep. I swear to you, I deserve grandparents because she loved it. She loved feeling included, and that was just the best part. But she went to drive her manual Suzuki Swift off the hill, and the stupid thing stalled twice, and I'm standing there thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have to get in this car in a minute and actually like get this car off the hill for her. Not only did she get it moving, she then drove down and across the field and into the driveway of her house, and I'm sitting there like, Gladys, you could have bloody walked. Her name wasn't Gladys. I made it up. But yeah, that's just me. I always make friends with some random people. And then, yeah, as I say, I had a couple of beers. The bestie, she made little quiche pie thingies and sriracha mayo dip. So I was just in my element, absolutely. Can't be mad about the mudfish versus the goats. I think the score was 42-24. Don't quote me on that. I couldn't see the scoreboard. It was so far in the distance. But I had to make a run for it. I had to go to the toot. And I was like 4 beers deep. I'm like, I haven't been to this club room before. I didn't want to like miss any part of the game, so I held on. So I'm running down this hill, and I look back and I'm like, where's my friends? Where's my friends? I don't know where I am. And you just can't make this shit up, eh? The guy from the previous weekend that had his pants around his ankles at the Vic that I talked about in the last podcast, he's standing right behind me as one of the players on the other team. And I looked at him and he looked at me and I went, oh no. Because not only had I got a selfie with him, we actually got along really well, and he's got very striking features. So I was like, it's definitely him. And I was like, shit. So I went running into the club rooms, and the bartender's behind the toilet wall, and she's like, we've got no toilet paper, so you're going to have to use handy paper towel. And I'm sitting there thinking, you can't flush that. It's going to overflow. I'm like, it's not my toilet, so why do I care? So did all that, and the toilets, I don't know what's going on in these club rooms, but they're super small. Like, you can't even turn around in them. It's just, sometimes I think I'm going to have to piss with my knee out the door. I'm 6'3". I can't fit these bloody small town toilets. But so I go back out to the girls, and we've got our drinks and everything's all fine. And this random guy comes from nowhere and puts this massive cheese board in front of us with these huge wedges of cheese. And I'm like, what? I ate so much cheese and crackers and salami on my second beer at the club rooms. I just was like, move that cheese board. That blue cheese smells so strong, I'm going to spew. Sorry. Oh, I'm not even sad about it. And then, yeah, so that guy, he sat quite close to me, and we kept catching eye contacts, and I was just like, no, he's born in 97. We're not going there. But he's a good-looking rooster. So it was a good day in Omakau. Definitely can't pronounce that team, but anyway. On the way back, we stopped off at Shadow Creek, and that is like, I would say, 9 out of 10 pub. If it wasn't for the bartender, as soon as we walked in, she yelled out, last drinks. It was like 7 o'clock. I wouldn't have felt so rushed. And there's even a sign on the wall that says, if you're 90 years old and if you've got an adult or a parent with you, you get your beers for free. And I tell you, after a couple of drinks, I don't know why I said it, but I was like, oh, those bloody 102-year-olds. And then someone yelled out, the parents weren't 12. And I was like, oh my God, I'm confused. So, Shadow Creek for the win, but that's where the boys, and they look very smart when they're in their suits after their game. They were standing around this wine barrel table, and I don't know how the story managed to come out of my mouth, but it did. I'm not proud of it. But I was talking about a cock ring that I found in a vending machine in a toilet in Brisbane that I brought for $2. That for some reason I was a little bit drunk and I managed to tack it onto a story that my friend had from Colombia, where he found a glory hole in the wall of a toilet. And anyway, I didn't fluff up the story or anything. I simply was talking about a cock ring and a glory hole, which, you know, if you don't already know, it's something that people put their body parts in. And you should have seen these guys' faces. They couldn't work out if I was lying, and they couldn't work out if we just don't have those types of conversations, so it was quite funny. But then my friend cut me off and she said, oh, if you want to hear more, you're going to have to listen to Danny's podcast. And all their phones came out and they were all looking up Spotify, and I felt really like, oh, you know, you just sort of you're just chuffed. I was just chuffed. And then one guy was like, I can't tell if she's serious about the podcast or she's serious about the glory hole. Like, well, I'm telling the truth. It's two stories, and it wasn't in Mexico, it was in Colombia. And yeah, but look, if you're listening, soz. And so we ended up getting back to Cromwell after that, and we had this big convoy of cars, and it was so nice just to sort of be the supporter and be drinking with the boys. And we ended up at the Vic, and then I don't even know what happened. I had too many vodka Red Bulls and had a lot of fun. My bad. So we've done the corned beef weekend and the Omacau weekend. I definitely rate both of those. That was a lot of fun. I also came across a weird, what was it again? Has anyone ever seen a commercial for a microwave? Someone asked me that last week, and I was sitting here like, excuse me? But is it not weird that you've never seen a commercial for a microwave? Maybe it was something like back in the 70s and 80s when microwaves were like being invented or whatever. But it sort of got me thinking, and I was like, I'm going to mention that on my podcast and see if anyone's ever seen like a Samsung microwave ad. It's not something that I'm going to say I have. And then off the cuff of that, my co-workers were talking about if you clean a vacuum cleaner, it also makes you the vacuum cleaner. And I was like, oh, it's too early for these types of puns or whatever they are. It's not a dad joke, but anyway. And then, yeah, so my work has been really hectic lately, and I've been super stressed about a few things. But we as an actual company got put through a wellness seminar with someone super, like, I mean, I'm still talking about it. Last Thursday, I don't know, I'm not going to say he's very famous or whatever, but I got to be a part of a 50-person seminar on Microsoft Teams with Lance Burdett. And I'll tell you a bit about him because I'm still like, whoa, man. So he was in construction for 20 years, and he spent 22 years being a police officer, becoming the lead crisis negotiator, qualifying in New Zealand and Australia and the FBI. He was described as the most qualified and highly skilled negotiator within the New Zealand Police, and he trained with the elite tactical units of the police, corrections, fire, military, and FBI. He was qualified as a personal protection officer, and he oversaw the protection of the Prime Minister and those on the Witness Protection Program. He was also major security in the Delhi Commonwealth Games and the London Olympics, and he's responsible for the recruitment and training of the police emergency call centres. He's got 2 books, and he's currently writing a 3rd book on anxiety. But, I mean, his CV is something that I would say I would aspire to. I was just like, when you don't realise you need to hear something until someone just sort of says it. And like, I feel like sometimes I'm always the one that, boosts people up and everything else. He broke me down. He like peeled back the layers. I actually had to turn the camera off 3 times, and I burst into tears, and I was like, geez, why is this happening? But I suppose at the end of it, and it's pretty obvious, I put everyone else in front of me except myself. And what a big part of the seminar was that he told us that, Air New Zealand always tells you to put your mask on before you put somebody else's mask on. I never remember that. I would always put someone else's mask on before I put my own. And that's where I was like, damn it, Lance. But he also touched on serotonin and how important serotonin is for your diet. Food's expensive, so I did a shortcut there and went straight to Chemist Warehouse and tried to figure out if there was serotonin in a tablet because he's rambling off, all the types of things you find serotonin in because it's a mood lifter. And I tell you, it's all the expensive food. the expensive food's going to make you happy. So, but no, he definitely made me realize that I put everyone else first and not myself. And whether it's the customer or my friends or whatever, I need to take a step back. And I actually fell off social media for about a week. I didn't interact or anything. I just sort of, kept to myself. And this whole thing with my friend and his colon cancer just absolutely threw me. I don't really know why. It just made me super emotional and triggered. But I suppose I've never really, and I keep saying lost because it's so super sad. He hasn't died yet, or he's battling. He's doing so bloody well. But for me, I just felt like I can't visit him because I just don't want to see this side of him. He's such a pillar of strength for me. And I really struggled with hearing about what's happening with him, and everything fell down. And I'm turning 36 in 3 weeks, and I was like, I don't even want to have a party. If you asked me 2 weeks ago, I threw my toys out the cot and I was thinking I'm just going to go to Hawaii and find Jason Momoa. Well, I can't keep turning to those types of things. I need to, it is in me to throw a party. And so I have officially this morning given out the invitations, and we're doing it. I hope to see all my friends at my house for a Mardi Gras party. But when you come from feeling pretty friggin' stinking low and you just sort of don't really know where, it's a weird thing. And to have a guy who normally, if he was boring, this Lance fella, I would have turned the camera off and just, played on my phone or whatever. But I was engaging, man. I was convinced he was talking to me because he was talking about when your cortisone levels drop and how you reach for chocolate. And he's like, but you reach for carrot sticks and hummus. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, maybe. I'm not going to be honest with you on that one, but yeah. I took so much away from it. I told Mum, I've told all my girlfriends. I'm like, Lance Burdett, he does podcasts, he does books. What do you call it? His website even has his mobile phone number and his email on it. And he actually says if you need something to reach out because he'll talk you through it. And I'm sitting here like, Jesus, how much is therapy with this guy? Because I think I just have a lot of trauma and PTSD and some weird shit from living alone in Brisbane, losing my brother, weird stuff that plays on your mind and you just sort of get a little bit wrapped up in. My coping mechanisms are shit to the point where I just break down, and I've been emotionally drained and in tears for 10 days about stupid stuff, but stuff that probably means something to me. But I've decided, my Nana, who's passed away, she was the entertainer, and I just think I'm so much like her. I love throwing events. I love, creating playlists and getting food and alcohol organised and just making something so special for everyone. It's not just a party, it's an experience. Just like when all my friends and me are going to Bali at the end of the year for New Year's. I've done it so many bloody times. It's not just going to be a vacation where you step off the plane and get into an Uber and go to your accommodation. No. I've done this enough to know that you order, a cheese board in the van and you have a chili bin full of bintang and you get looked after. It's just a vibe. But it's, yeah. So now, moving forward, I definitely want to put myself first in a lot of situations. If I don't hear from you, I don't hear from you, but I'm not going to reach out and be needy, just because I'm not putting myself first, and it's playing on me, and it's a repercussion that I'm just not doing too well with. So, Mr. Lance Burdett, if you keep going and doing what you're doing, I might just reach out if I get, the guts up to do so. Be like, listen, I need some help. But no, that was so good. I'm so rapt that I got to be a part of that. And he is what I would aspire to have on my CV. Maybe I could say that I did 20 years in insurance and telecommunications, and then I did 22 years as being the head person for New Zealand negotiations. I used to negotiate so much stuff in Australia for my previous roles and all that. I'm pretty good. And when I go to Bali, I negotiate the shit out of a cheap singlet. It's not the same. So yeah, in saying that, I'm 3 weeks away from turning 36, and I'm embracing it. there's no point in being upset about it. And I hope to see all my friends at my party, which is going to be cool. And then, 4 months' time, I'm going to Australia for my cousin's wedding, and I'm just so excited. So I've decided I'm going to go into cocoon mode. It's something where I just sort of like know in winter, autumn and winter seasons, you can wear super baggy clothes and like lots of layers and stuff, but it's what you do inside that really like changes the course of summer and spring. I do better eating healthy and looking after myself in winter and autumn than I do summer and spring. And I know you shouldn't put it down to seasons. Like, who gives two shits? I just know that my social calendar, I like can get out of bed in the freezing cold. I freaking hate de-icing the windscreen of my car. But I can go to the gym and feel really good about myself in the winter. But in the summer, I think it's because we have such long days. I just don't get out of bed. I'm like, nah, another day, another time I didn't go to the gym. But I'm really going to start applying myself for the next 4 months because I'm so excited for my cousin's wedding and I don't want to look like a bin bag. So I'm going to go into cocoon mode and look after myself and see what happens. But I was saying at the gym this morning to my friends, I'm going to go from a solid 3, I look like a 3, to a 4.5. I mean, we can't work miracles, guys, come on. But so that's all exciting. I have a wine of the week. I am on my last glass of my Dicey 2-litre carton cask wine that I got for Christmas. It is a butte drop, and let me tell you, because it's in a goon sack with a tap on the front, don't be stressed out by that. You're not drinking $4 wine. Dicey is actually like a subsidiary from Mount Difficulty, so it's not bad. I would probably say it was about an 8 out of 10. I think what was more fun about it was that you don't feel like you have to open a bottle to have a glass and then you just like, oh, when am I going to drink the rest of the bottle? Having it in a tap sort of situation, they actually go into great detail and tell you that it's how they transport the wine between, the distribution is super important to not smash bottles and everything like that. It's actually how they transport it to other parts of the world. So, look, I'm here for it. The wine of the week is definitely the 2-litre Pinot Noir Dicey carton. I'm, pretty happy with that. I had pasta for tea last night, chicken, bacon, mozzarella, ravioli, and I had a glass and I was like, damn, it's been like open since January and now we're at the end of April and I'm still not sad about this wine. It's like not turned. It doesn't taste like vinegar. I definitely rate that, and I think everyone should try and get their hands on a cask of that. But I think it's $80 for 2 litres. I'm pretty sure, because I managed to hear that conversation a couple of weeks ago at a friend's house, and I was like, I don't want to know. It was a Christmas present, but there we go. So don't really know about this female podcast that I was going to do. I sort of started brainstorming for it, and I filled up 2 pages of stuff that I could talk about, and I was like, oh, you got to rein it in. So I just wanted to make this one a little bit more weekend, and I wanted to touch on some, fun stuff that I get up to and see what the feedback was around that, because it means so much to me, and it's the support and the confidence to be able to talk freely and feel like, you're not stepping on anyone's toes, but you're also being honest. And I think the whole point of my podcast is that people find out, we get up to a lot of mischief and we have a lot of fun, but sometimes I don't click that it's like not normal. So I wanted to talk more about what's just previously happened as opposed to the girls one, and especially because now the Cromwell goats are potentially listening in, I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. But might just cruise on to doing a big female only. And I say that, but anyone can listen. I'm just sort of going to talk about stuff that's relatable. And I'll sort that out and maybe get that off the publishing. I'm just looking at the calendar. What's the day? The 26th of April. all going to plan, how do we feel about podcasts being released on Tuesdays or Wednesdays? I don't know. I'll see how the schedule looks, because I think my work's going to start ramping up as well. Oh my God, I'm stressed already. But yeah, hope you've all enjoyed today's podcast. I definitely enjoyed just talking about it. I feel like it's very therapeutic because I get to just break it down and have a bit of fun. I actually recorded this 3 times, so there's that. You get to like the 7th minute and you're like, damn it, courier's at the door. So no, look, take care of everyone. I think we're, just going to have a normal weekend this weekend. None of these public holidays randomly popping up for a wee while. I don't think there's any till June, especially in New Zealand, that's for sure. But look, take care of one another. If anyone needs anything, feel free to reach out. What's the handle again? _Danny dot, like full stop and then dot _. Mostly on Instagram, but you can get me on any socials, Danny. I don't know if I could let my last name out. Oh, no. Danny Wilson. And I'll see you all again in a week and we'll talk more. Bye.